Yo, what's up, Broncos country? How's it going tonight, guys? So I wanted to get on here, make this quick video. Sorry, I haven't really been making any videos. Mohammed's still on vacation, and honestly, I've been sick all week, so I didn't get a chance to make my prediction video before this week. I'm still trying to get over a head cold I have, but anyway, let's get into the game for today. So honestly, I don't even know what to say. Like, I do know what to say. There is one thing I specifically want to talk about, and I really want to say these coaches, Sean Payton included, need to be evaluated. What the heck is wrong with these coaches? I'm sick to death of seeing the same bull crap every week. Like the first half, the defense made a couple of good plays. You know, the defense played solid, but this just does not look like a team that wants to win on offense. You know, some games it's the defense too. The defense doesn't want to win some games. Like they come out flat, they come out with no energy, and it's just like, what are we doing for one half? And then they come out and they ball in the second half. This game, I will give the defense their props when props are due. You know, they made a couple of good stops in the first half. You know, they made some good stops there in the fourth quarter and in overtime. But seriously, I got to call this coaching into questioning. Like, I don't get it. Like the entire game, they kept pulling Riley Moss out of the game. VJ kept pulling him out. Like I seen Damari Mathis in there. I seen Chris Abrams-Drain in there. Like they kept pulling Moss out of the game. Now, is he still hurting? Like, is his knee still hurt? Because from what I've seen all week, he was a full participant in practice. So now it's like they're pulling him in and out of the game all game. Now, Moss, I mean, yeah, he didn't have a great day, but I would still feel more better with him out there because Mathis looked worse. Um, but with that said, I want to talk about one specific play on defense that really had me just fuming at the, just fuming. There was one play, I think it was in the third quarter. It was sometime in the second half. Vance Joseph blitz, which I'm a fan of. I told you, I want them to blitz more. I want them to be more aggressive, play more man coverage, and make sure Surtain's on their best wide receiver. And that taps into this. What the hell was Cody Barton doing on Jamar Chase? Like the Bengals were driving. Vance Joseph sends a blitz. I'm fine with. But instead of putting like a McMillan or a Moss or even a safety on Jamar Chase, he puts a linebacker on Jamar Chase in man coverage blitz. VJ has got to go. I am sick to death. I don't want to hear about stats, numbers. Don't tell the whole story. If you watch the play on the field, Vance Joseph, like he literally doesn't know how to scheme right. Like his defense, like I don't get him. I really don't. And even whenever Moss was out, like they were talking about before the game, oh, he was playing a lot more zone coverage because Riley Moss was out. Chris Abrams-Drain was holding his own pretty dang well. And you still don't go away from what your defense does well, which is man coverage and blitz, aggressive defense. And also the fact that on 4th and 2 today, 4th and 2, they needed 2 yards to pick up a fourth down. What does Vance Joseph do? What he always freaking does. He plays 5 yards off. He has his DBs play 5 yards off the receiver. All the receivers got to do is take 1, 2 steps, turn around, catch the ball, boom, he's got the first down. Vance Joseph is not a good DC. I was okay with the hire when we hired him. I was like, well, maybe he learned. Maybe he's more suitable for a defensive coordinator. I was fine with it. I was like, I wasn't like a lot of people that were like, oh, what the hell are we doing bringing back Vance Joseph? I was just like, let's just see. Let's trust Sean Payton and just see what happens with this. Maybe he's more suitable to be a DC. Clearly, that's not the case. Vance Joseph doesn't know what the hell he's doing, scheme wise or anything. You put a linebacker on a really key third or a really key defensive stand. You put a linebacker on Jamar Chase, their best weapon. You're retarded. You literally have to stop them from getting 2 yards. Okay, yeah, I understand that's hard. 4th and 2, it's hard. I understand that. They can still pick it up even if you play press. But you know they need 2 yards. Why are you sending your DB 5 yards back? Makes no logical sense. And then VJ, whenever he's getting cooked in zone, instead of trying to switch it up or blitz when he needs to blitz and not blitz when he doesn't need to blitz, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's confused. So VJ can go. I want a new DC. I don't want VJ here anymore. I was patient with him for 2 years, even after the 70 burger. I had a little rant. But I stuck with Peyton because he stuck with him. I was like, all right, fine, let's give him another chance. And he turned the defense around. But his inconsistencies show week in and week out. Even every game, his consistency show week in, week out. Like, yeah, the stats are good. Like, that's great. But when you watch the play on the field, when they need like a big stop or, even scheme wise, you're just like, what the hell was that? So VJ can go. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about, a lot of people are probably not going to like this, but I honestly don't care. Sean freaking Payton, what are you doing? We hired you to come in to fix this team, which he's done. He's fixed a lot of things. He fixed the offensive line. He got rid of Russ. He got, a young, promising QB, and I'm happy for all that. But what the fuck is his play calling? The Bengals are honestly one of the worst defenses at stopping the freaking run. And you're like, let's have Bo Nix drop back a bunch of times and throw. I seriously looked this up. In the first half, when we were constantly throwing, we were averaging, I think it was like 3.5 or 3.4 yards through the air, passing the ball. We were averaging 4.6 yards a carry. Sean Payton's like, nah, they stop it once. I'm going away from the run completely. And in the second half, that even got more that was even more of a reason why you're sitting here with your head like Sean Payton, like, what the hell are you doing? He was literally like that first touchdown of ours. I can't remember if it was the first half or the second half. Correct me or let me know in the comments, guys. But even if it was in the first half, you run the ball down the field and you were able to march. You were able to get down there and get a touchdown. Sean Payton, like midway through the game, like second quarter, third quarter, he was running the ball. It was, I don't know, and fourth quarter, it was what? I don't know, working? And then you go into halftime. I'm sorry, you go into overtime, and the Bengals get the ball, and you're like, oh, crap, man, come on, defense, just make it. They make it stop. You get the ball. The Broncos, on their first series in overtime, 1 run, 1 yard, and then Payton's like, oh, the run didn't work. Go to the pass. You go to the pass. You go 3 and out. Instead of trying to run on second down, maybe run on third down. And that's another thing I want to get into here in a minute. Another play in regulation that really ticked me off. So you don't get it. You go 3 and out. Your first drive of overtime. You punt it back. You get a miracle. You get a gift. You get a gift from the NFL gods that the Bengals kicker missed. Pretty much a chip shot field goal. What was it, like a 30-yard field goal? Misses it. You get the ball. First down. You run the ball. Okay. You get 3 yards. Okay, fairly decent. Then the next 2 plays, pass. Run the ball. You run the ball. You chew more clock. You probably pick up a first down. But that's Sean Payton. Sean Payton's like, oh, it doesn't work on first down. I'm going to go away from it completely on the rest of the drive. Like, what the hell? At that point, all you needed was to either, and the Bengals already used up all their timeouts on your second drive of overtime. All you had to do is run the clock out. You win, you get a tie, you clinch a playoff spot. Instead, you keep the Bengals alive for another week. And now we have to go into next week. Granted, it's probably going to be against KC's backups in Denver to maybe still clinch a playoff spot. But you should have clinched that today. You had the opportunity, even with the tie. Sean Payton's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to run the ball, run the clock, since they use their timeouts, and just get out of here with the tie, or maybe march down the field and kick a game-winning field goal. I'm going to let Bo Nix throw it. And that goes to another play earlier in regulation. You have was it 3rd and 2? I think it was 3rd and 2 for the Broncos. You drop back. At that point, Bo Nix was struggling in the game a little bit. He wasn't seeing the field. And I'm not going to sit here and blame everything on Sean and Vance, because Bo Nix did not have a great day. I mean, you could look at the stats and say, oh, yeah, he had an okay day. But if you watch the game, you could tell he was flustered. Maybe the moment was too big for him. He was missing wide open receivers. But at the same time, 3rd and 2, run the ball. It was working. Maybe you can feel like the Bengals, the Bengals are you. It's coming. Oh, pass. Okay. You switch it. You make a run play. Guess what? You probably pick up the first down and keep that drive alive. Like, I don't get it. What is Sean Payton trying to accomplish here? because he's not trying to accomplish winning. And I was actually talking to somebody earlier. He's like, "Oh yeah, he was playing conservatively." What? Why? Wasn't that what Broncos country was so mad about for so many years under Vic Fangio? We like, regardless if we were still in the playoff hunt early in the season, like the years Vic Fangio coached us, or if we were already out of playoff contention, he was still playing so conservative. Broncos country, like, just go for it, do something. You're already out of the playoffs. Why are you playing so conservative? Just try to get the win. Even if you fail, at least you tried. No one's gonna be mad at you for that. Sean Payton's doing the same thing. Playoffs are on the line. Oh my god, I'm so scared. It's like Payton's like freaking Nathaniel Hackett, so scared that he's going to lose, that he's going to coach conservatively, and guess what? He lost again. Like, Payton needs to start going for it on fourth down. I'm not saying he needs to be like Dan Campbell and go for it on fourth down like every freaking time. But every now and then, when you got like 4th and 2, you feel the momentum starting to shift, or, maybe you're down and your playoff hopes are on the line, or even if you're out of the playoffs, go for it. Who gives a damn? Like, this coaching conservative, this coaching scared shit's really starting to get on my nerves. Broncos country was like pounding the table for us to be aggressive when Vic Fangio was here, when Vance Joseph was the head coach, even when Nathaniel Hackett. Like, I remember that first game in Seattle with Nathaniel Hackett. People were pounding the table. Freaking, go for it with Russell Wilson. You paid them $243 million. Go for it. Be aggressive. I don't know what it is about the Broncos, but it's like we're too scared to, we're so scared of failure that we refuse to be aggressive. And in that case, we fail. I'm not saying you have to be aggressive all the time. There's sometimes you need to play conservative to win a game. I'm not saying always being aggressive is going to lead to more wins, or always being conservative is going to lead to more losses. But you got to know when to go for it and when not to go for it. You got to know when to be aggressive and when to be conservative. And it seems like Sean Payton doesn't know. He really doesn't. Once again, I give Sean Payton his props for what he's done. He had the balls to cut Russ, get rid of him, get a young, fresh, promising QB in here. He fixed the offensive line, and I understand he's not working with a lot this year because with the Russell Wilson dead cap, but that's even more of a reason why you should be going for it. In the NFL today, you see, like the Bengals today, man, they were going for it on 4th down. Granted, yes, their playoff hopes are on the line, but so are yours, basically, Sean. You're trying to lock up the last seeding, or the 7th seed in the AFC. Go for it. Stop being a baby and scared and go for it. Grow a set and go for it. Run the ball. Like, that's the crazy thing, too. Like, aggressive, you think pass. When you think run, you think conservative. Sean really doesn't know what the heck he's doing. When the run's working, he goes away from it. That would have been your case of success. That was like the aggressive play today. Run the ball because Bengals couldn't stop you. They were having more success at stopping the pass than they were at stopping the run. I don't know what to tell you guys, man. This is just every week. And I'm not saying Sean Payton's a terrible head coach. He's very, I don't know the word. Like, he's the kind of coach where you're like, oh wow, that was good. That was a smart play caller. That was a good decision. But then he'll turn right around and do something so buffoonish. You're just like, what the hell was that? Like, Sean Payton will give you the yeah moments, but at the same time, he gives you moments where you're just like either sitting here freaking face palming or you're just like pulling your hair out. Like, I don't get it. We got one more week. We got one more game. There's one more game left in the season. And depending on how tomorrow's games go with the Colts and the Dolphins, now that the Bengals won, they're sitting at 8-8. Like, is it possible we lose out and still make the playoffs? Yeah, it is. That means next week the Bengals have to lose, and the Dolphins and Colts have to lose out the rest of the year. Okay? But, and the Broncos can clinch a playoff spot if that happens. But the way they can also clinch a playoff spot is they just win or tie next week against the Chiefs. So, and honestly, I know a lot of people ain't gonna like hearing this, but this is not a playoff caliber team. I honestly don't want to see this team in the playoffs. Not because I don't want the Broncos. Like I've been and that's the thing. A lot of people have told me over the year, Eddie, you shouldn't expect that. This team wasn't even supposed to be winning 5 games, but yet they've won 9. Vegas only had them winning 5.5, and they've won 9. You should be happy with that. You shouldn't be expecting playoffs. And I was like, no. When the team exceeds expectations, or any team, or a person in themselves, like if you exceed expectations at your job, you're expected to keep growing and keep exceeding expectations. You're supposed to keep going forward and getting better. Football is the same thing. When you exceed expectations on your, how many games Vegas says you win, or everybody says you're going to win the year, you exceed that. People are going to start expecting more from you. And that's what happened. I was like, I'd be happy if the Broncos just have a winning season. Honestly, that was where I was at the beginning of the year. Go 9-8. I'm happy they got that. They got the first winning season in 9 years. Cool. But at the same time, it's like, since they really blew that, they went 9-8. They exceeded my expectations. But now it's like, I expect them to make playoffs. They're in that picture. They're in the hunt. Like they're sitting at the 7th seed. All they got to do is win one of their last 2 games. They just lost one, and they're in. So my, expectations for the Broncos is to make the playoffs. Now, once they get there, that's a whole different story. Like I said earlier in the year, or I said a few weeks ago, I'd be happy if the Broncos make the playoffs and they get bounced in the first round by the Bills. That just shows promise to me, because it's like, okay, what Sean Payton and the coaching staff did with this team, with an $85 million dead cap hit and a rookie quarterback with hardly any weapons, making the playoffs, that's great. But at this point, I don't want to see this team in the playoffs. Not because I don't want them to be there, because they don't look like they belong. Like, dude, if we do make the playoffs, say we win next week, okay? We win next week and we get into the playoffs. Who we playing in the first round? The Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Arguably the best, one of the best, if not the best team in the NFL right now. We're going to get annihilated. Like, we are going to get absolutely freaking cooked against the Bills. You couldn't even beat a Bengals team because Sean Payton refused to run the football against a run defense in the Bengals that was literally one of the worst in the league, if not the worst. This Bills defense is a lot more freaking deadlier. They're a lot more harsh. Same with their offense. Their offense is even more dangerous than the Bengals. We make the playoffs, we're going to get destroyed in that first game. And whenever I say I would like to see us make the playoffs, once they started exceeding expectations, it's because the Broncos were playing good football. But I was blind and I wasn't really paying, like I was, but I really didn't throw this out there. I'm like, they're beating really bad teams. So with that said, like if the Broncos make the playoffs, I'd be fine losing to the Bills if it was a hard fought game. Like, the Broncos were just battling and they just came up short and whatever. But we did that tonight against the Bengals, and the Bengals are a more inferior team. They have, I'm sorry to say, but Josh Allen is better at quarterback. They have a better offensive line than the Bengals. Maybe they don't have better weapons, but they have a better defense. And there's a reason why they're the 2nd seed, and they're, 14-3 or something right now. So, it'd be one thing if this Broncos team actually had fight and the coaching actually knew what the hell they were doing. And we actually had a hard-fought game and we just barely lost to the Bills. I could be respectful of that. But if we go to the Bills, in the first round of the playoffs, playing like we've been playing the last couple of weeks, we're going to get demolished. We're going to get absolutely freaking cooked. And it's going to be embarrassing. I'd rather the Broncos just not deal with that. That will be a team morale killer. Everybody's going to be like, damn, look at the Broncos. Yeah, they made the playoffs, but they got absolutely destroyed. It's going to be a bad look. So I really don't want to see that happen. So I hope we beat the Chiefs next week, but we're we still have a really high chance. Like I said, as long as we win or tie next week, we get into the playoffs. If the Bengals lose next week, which I think they're going to, I think they're going to lose against Pittsburgh. And the Bengals and Dolphins, don't win out. I'm sorry, the Colts and Dolphins don't win out. They're not going to make the playoffs. So it's just, dude, I'm telling you right now, it's over. Like if we go into the playoffs playing like we are now, playing against and we have to play against the Bills, we're going to get destroyed. And I really just don't want to watch that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm going to jump off here. Peace.